Okay, so what I'm about to share with you is a true story. There is no embellishing whatsoever. I got up early this morning, not on purpose. It was just, I just woke up and had to use the restroom at about 4 a.m. I always take a Nintendo Switch with me when I go to the restroom. I thought to myself, why can't I use my saves from one Nintendo Switch on another Nintendo Switch? I just bought this one. It's the OLED one. I gave in. I was on a trip out of town, and after playing this for hours on end, I was like, you know what? I think it's time to get the OLED one. So I go on my laptop and I'm like, is there some way to play my saved storage on both Nintendo Switches at the same time? No, there's not. But I noticed that the Oppenheimer trailer dropped when I was doing that research, and I was like, well, I guess I'm not going back to bed. I know, riveting story. So, what's going on, everybody? I'm Jabby Quaid. Thanks so much for joining at this early, unintentional hour for me. Oppenheimer, that's what we're watching here. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. And thank you again for being here with me. Here we go.
This is a national emergency.
Detonator charged.
We're in a race against the Nazis. And I know what it means if the Nazis have a bomb.
We have a 12-month head start.
18.
How could you possibly know that?
We've got one hope. All America's industrial might and scientific innovation connected here. A secret laboratory. Keep everyone there until it's done.
Let's go recruit some scientists.
Build a town, build it fast. If we don't let scientists bring their families, we'll never get the best.
Why would we go to the middle of nowhere for who knows how long?
Why? Why? How about because this is the most important thing to ever happen in the history of the world?
Oh.
You're the great improviser, but this you can't do in your head.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
Chances are near zero.
Near zero.
Zero.
What do you want from theory alone?
Zero would be nice.
This is a matter of life and death. But I can perform this miracle.
World War II would be over. Our boys would come home.
That's happening, isn't it?
The world will remember this day. Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen. Until somebody builds a bigger one.
You are the man who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And the world is not prepared.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Truman needs to know what's next.
2,
What's next?
1.
Wow. It was a pleasant surprise to see Robert Downey Jr. here and Emily Blunt. I have not been paying attention to the IMDb, so I didn't actually know that they were in this movie before. And even Matt Damon, I didn't know he was in this. And I kind of laughed in my head a little bit because the last time I was surprised by Matt Damon was in Interstellar, and it wasn't a good feeling at that time. I did not like his presence in Interstellar, but I'm being told this at the trailer level, and so when I watch the movie, I'm not going to be shocked in any way whatsoever. I apologize for those of you who very much enjoyed Matt Damon in Interstellar. I did not, but I'm enjoying him here. You know, the dynamic that he's having with Cillian Murphy here is pretty cool. Cillian Murphy, who has been in so many Christopher Nolan movies up to now. I really, really like what this story is exploring. I feel like it's super cool that Christopher Nolan is exploring this part of history that, should be talked about more. It's quite important. It's a very, very important part of history. It has affected all of our lives in some way whatsoever, even if it's not like directly. It's super cool to me that we get to explore this part of history through Christopher Nolan's eyes, through his perspective. He is going to show us what happened in a way that most directors wouldn't. He has a very particular eye that is unique, that is unarguable, that is not disputable whatsoever. He's got a very unique perspective on things, and so I can't wait to explore that. I mean, look at Dunkirk. Who does a war movie like that? Admittedly, I was confused the first time I watched it. I had to watch it a second time now. Maybe I'm just a silly head. And most of you watching this trailer reaction weren't confused whatsoever, but I was confused. I very much enjoyed it more the second time around. I'm still wondering if there's going to be any special unique thing with the structure of how this story is told. If you guys know anything and you comment below about it, I'm not going to read it. I want to be completely surprised when I watch this movie, but I am curious about if he's got like that kind of hairpin narrative structure like he did for Memento, for instance. It's not the first time he's played with black and white. Memento's the only other instance I can think of where I've seen him play with black and white. You've got a character here who's literally dealing with the end of the world potentially. Because oftentimes when you're writing a story, the stakes for the main character have to be the end of the world. Whether they're actually the end of the world or not, it should feel like the end of the world for them if they don't accomplish their task, right? Here, it literally could be that, just like in Tenet. Everybody's favorite Christopher Nolan movie. Not disputable whatsoever. The best! And it is kind of fascinating to go from Tenet to this, because in Tenet, it was like the end of the world, but nobody cared. And here, it is the end of the world, and I feel like even just from the trailer, I already care. Maybe because it's easy for me to access because it's part of actual history, but I already care just from looking at this commercial. A lot of times with Christopher Nolan movies, especially in the last several years, there's usually a gimmick of some kind that is supposed to kind of hook you in. Like, even with Dunkirk, he had a special narrative structure to the whole thing where it's like 1 day, 1 week, and I forgot what the last one was, or 1 hour, right? 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week for the 3 different storylines, all being shown concurrently. With Tenet, it was like the whole, time reversal thing. Inception was all in the mind. Interstellar was this space travel thing, going through a black hole into other parts of the universe, etc. And then, of course, with, the Dark Knight trilogy, it's Batman. So it's a gimmick in itself. In a good way. When I use the word gimmick, I mean this in a positive way, right? Here, there really is no gimmick that I can think of upon cursory glance. It's like I can't see a gimmick that he would use here unless he's doing something spectacular with the structure that we just don't know about until we get there. Not since, what was it, Insomnia, has it felt like he's really just focusing on the drama. Because even with Memento, which was a very dramatic film, you were really kind of just keeping up with the movie because it was flip-flopping between the forward storyline and the backward storyline. Guy Pearce did a fantastic job in that film. The acting was great. But this really does feel like just character drama for the most part. And that's intriguing to me for Christopher Nolan. Often what you come away with from a Christopher Nolan film is the spectacle of the whole thing, like the experience of the whole thing more than the individual characters. So it just feels like for a substantial portion of this film, you're going to have instances of characters just, dealing with the weight of this and the potential consequences. There's no footage of like action in this or war or fisticuffs, nothing like that. You know what I mean? It's just like actual character drama. Knowing Nolan, he's gonna have a way of presenting this that really gives it weight, gives everything weight, as it should. I mean, given what, we're talking about here, just what we're talking about on paper alone, I am so fascinated with this particular project and so excited for it. Because you attach a name like Christopher Nolan to a movie, everybody's gonna pay attention. And so my hope is that the end result is that we all come away learning something important about history, and we all experience some really good character drama while, learning something about science and these historical figures that have affected and shaped our lives in ways that we can't even possibly begin to articulate. Thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed this discussion and reaction with me. I'm Jabby Kaway. Peace out.